recognize it in this morning's meditation, and then we'll get to our good friend Terrence in a second. So, Emily, I'm going to kick it back over to you and get us all grounded, and we'll get our morning started.
Good morning, everyone. I thought it would be appropriate to start this morning with our metta loving kindness meditation. A lot of you probably know that because you've either done it with us here or you've experienced it before. But in this meditation, we send loving kindness, and typically we start with ourselves, and then we send it to a dear one, and then we send it out into the world as well. So let's begin, and I'll guide you through this. So finding that comfortable position this morning, sitting up tall, finding a sense of balance in the upper body as you lengthen upward. And then go ahead and close your eyes. And don't make any effort to control your breath. Just simply breathe naturally. Focusing your attention on the breath and how the body moves with each inhalation and exhalation. Observing how your chest moves, your shoulders, the rib cage and belly. Simply focusing attention on your breath without controlling its pace or intensity. So in your heart, I want you to repeat after me. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be and live with ease. Take a nice, full, deep breath in, taking in some new oxygen into the body, filling yourself up. Open up your mouth, exhale, release it all out, sending out love into the universe to Matt, to those of us in different parts of the country and in the world who need it the most. Opening back up your eyes, coming back into the room. Good morning, 6 a.m.ers, and welcome to the 6 a.m.ers. We have a wonderful guest with us this morning, Terrence.
Thank you, Emily, as always. And just if you guys don't mind, let's put our word of the month into the chat. Emily does a beautiful meditation, and my hope is that, I'm sure all of us thought of Matt and sent him some energy, and the rest of the world, a lot going on, and a lot of things that can pull us away from being present in our own life. With that, Terrence, good morning, man.
Good morning, my man. Let me finish my word of the month.
Well, on that note, what's your word of the month?
Man, my word of the month, good segue, and just sorry about that, is checkmate.
Yeah, we're going to get back to it because I want everyone to know you, and then our first question will be explain your word of the month. But okay. Terrence, if you don't mind, give everyone, and there's a lot to you, like right. You can copy, you can go, first agent Compass, but give us maybe a quick synopsis of who you are.
Okay, well, I'm Terrence Harden, based in the New York region in headquarters, well, the original headquarters, which was 95th, and then we moved to 110 Fifth. Actually, that wouldn't be the original headquarters. The original headquarters would be their first location, which I wasn't there. So, yeah, I've been with Compass since 2016. Yeah, and loving it.
Yeah, you were early on, but yeah, all right. So you're way more interesting than that though. So give us give us your background as a young man growing up in New York. Like, what did you do? What's your other name?
Oh man. Well, anyway, what Sky is trying to get to is before I was in, I would say, yeah, before I got into real estate, I was in the music industry. I was a rapper with Biggie, Notorious Big's group, Junior Mafia. So then I left the music industry and ironically got pulled way back into it last year, but we'll get back into that. So yeah, I left the music industry in 2004-ish and then decided to try my hand and go a different direction in life and stumbled into the real estate industry like a lot of us did. And then we got sucked into that rabbit hole and fell in love with it. So
how did you join Compass? Well, give us your Compass story.
Yeah, well, I was with Corcoran. I was in Corcoran Soho for about 10 years under Gene Martinez, rest in peace, our great guy, Gene, for those who know him. So Gene pulled me into Corcoran and I was there for 10 years, like I said, and then I had a penthouse. And this gentleman walked into the penthouse that I had in the East Village and we hit it off. We were talking and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm actually looking for things. And I kept in communication with him. And then we continue, I text him and we'll talk and I try to show him things and come to find out it was actually Ori. So it was Ori. So I started loosely working with Ori and he kept telling me, hey, I have this company and I'm doing this, but it was already out there. I think it was still probably Urban Compass then and just transitioning to Compass. So he'd be like, yo, you got to check out my company. And I was like, And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of okay at Corcoran, but then I was looking at what Ori was doing with Compass. So now he ended up coming to another one of my townhouses that I had. So I saw him again. So what would happen is let me backtrack. So every 6 months or so, he would reach out and say, hey, yeah, I want you to come to the company. Yeah. So I was saying, no, I didn't want to go. And then all of a sudden, this was the time when Compass was grabbing everybody from different firms. This was like 2014-ish. Yeah. So they came in and took one of my mentors, Gene Martinez, who was like I tell people, and I say this all the time, and I think you remember this guy, yeah. No disrespect to you and any other managers. I say he was like the Michael Jordan of managers. Like anybody who knows him would be in agreement with it. And so he was like the Michael Jordan of managers. So they took Gene Martinez. They took him from Corcoran. So when they took him, it was a mass exodus from my company. Like almost everybody left. So everybody was like, whoa. So he and they just followed him. They just followed him. Yeah. So now, after that, I was still looking at Compass, and then Ori would reach out. Then he started connecting me with you know, the good old great talker Rory. So yeah, he connected me with Rory, and then me and Rory hit it off. So now Rory would contact me too. Yeah. And I told Rory, I said, look, ever since you guys took everybody from Corcoran, like, they're treating me like a king. I'm good over here. Like, I got my own office. I'm doing this. I'm like, I'm great now. So I had no real reason to leave, but I'm no dummy. So while that's happening, I'm looking at Compass, I'm studying what they're doing, and I'm like, wait, these guys really, really know what they're doing. Like, I studied the history and what Ori created and Robin, and I'm looking on the sidelines, but I'm still enjoying myself at Corcoran, but I'm watching their growth, and me, I'm a forward-thinking person. So I'm looking and I'm seeing where they're about to go, and I'm like, man, these guys are really, really onto something. So now, like I said, every 6 months, they would come and approach me, and I'd be like, no. Then finally they said, they said, let us know what you want.
Yeah.
They were like, let us know what you want. So I was like, So with that being said, I made a long laundry list, act like I was a little kid sitting on Santa's lap. So I just started writing this, that, this, that, this. So I wrote every single thing I possibly wanted. And I want to say they came through with about 85% of it. So here I am, and loving it. Yeah, loving it.
How has Compass changed? So joining in 2016, and obviously, God, what are we, 6 years later or so? Like, how has it changed, and how has it not changed? Do you know what I mean?
It's funny, but that's a great question. It's funny because when I first joined Compass, they were big but smaller, and we had like our they didn't call them AEMs. I forgot what it is because they changed the name.
Product manager, was it product
no,
manager?
It was something before that one. So
yeah.
So we would meet with this person and they'll go through everything and we'll sit down and it felt more like hands-on. But what I'm noticing now is the evolution of Compass. Of course, they've gotten so big that they can't do that the way they used to do it before, but now they do it in a way that's efficient with the growth of the company. Like with all of the stuff that we're doing and our AEMs and things like that. Like it's like okay, well, you know what? We can't have what would they need? 10,000 AEMs for 27,000 agents or whatever. So they figured out a way to do it systematically, which is a smart process. So I look at stuff like that too. So I think they're acclimating to the environment, and that's something that Robert's really good at.
It's amazing how it continues to evolve, but there are some elements that also have not changed since I've been here too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but exactly. I would say that too, but it's great. Yeah, it's great. And that's what I did. Like there was a post that Frederick Eklund posted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people, like, it got sent to me. People may know the person who runs the Real Estate One site like this. Well, she sent it to me like, Terrence, look what he wrote about Compass. And he was talking about, I think how
quarterly earnings or whatever.
Oh yeah, the earnings. And I had to break it down, and I can't remember it word for word, but I just chimed in and I just said, hey, I'm just here to leave this comment and leave. Like I wasn't going to go back and forth. So I explained to them that Realogy went down almost 50%. I forgot when it was. I think it went down 50% on when the market, when everything happened. And then it also went down almost 90% in value and bounced up. And I said a lot of agents in various firms, and some of you guys can attest to this, before you were at Compass, nobody even knew the stock value of the company they were working with. So what's this whole big fascination with, okay, the value of Realogy or the value of this is, nobody knew this. The only thing people were concerned with was just servicing their client and growing their business if they're a solid agent. But then there's been this whole obsession with, I think it's just Compass just created that whole thing in the industry because that's the first time I'm really seeing that.
So. Yeah, it is interesting. And I think the other interesting thing as well is like Realogy did $8 billion in revenue. We did with 130,000 agents. We did 6.4 billion with 27,000. Like there's these storylines that aren't being told. 9 months. That's like, and your business as well. You are a business owner.
Right, exactly. That's what you focus on. Like if the show goes on, I tell people with Realogy, that happened. They went down to 90, they lost 90% of their stock value, 90%. And the show still goes on. So as long as we focus on what we have to do and Compass acclimates to the environment, like we're in a pretty good place.
We're in a great place. And I think that's the thing is like, we're not playing a short game. We're playing a long. And that's the thing I always come back to too.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. The more you focus on your business, what you're doing right now. Like, so give me your word of the month. I meant to ask.
My word of the month is checkmate. Because I think it's actually twofold, but kind of almost self-explanatory. Checkmate because I want to win at what I'm doing. And a lot of this training and stuff that we're doing, and 10X, everything that you guys are doing with Good Spare, it's all setting us up and setting me up to win. But then at the same time, I'm thinking checkmate, like chess, you have to think and be strategic about it. And I say that to say this, like, who was I talking? I think I was talking with Sharad about this too. I said, in what people have to understand, we're learning so much over these 10 weeks that you have to be mindful of what's going to happen in the future with what you're learning, because your business is good. If you do it and implement everything correctly, you're going to have a tsunami of business. And guess what's going to happen? If you have a tsunami of business and you're not thinking how to acclimate and adjust the way you're conducting your life and your business, you're going to drown. So you gotta figure that out. So that's something that people should be mindful of, especially the people that are really deep diving into the 10X.
Yeah. And most of the agents on this call, like, you're on this call for reasons you are trying to get better, right? And the most people, you put the word me in the chat if you're participating in Compass Core, 10 by 10, or any of the trainings that we're doing. And it's such a smart word because of the fact that you do need to start to think ahead. Like, oh my God, like, I have all this business coming in. Like, how am I adding leverage? How, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So Terrence, talk to me about your business. Like, what are you taking from the, I guess we're on week 7 now, the first 6 weeks so far. What has been one of your biggest, like, ahas or your biggest learning so far?
Really the organization aspect of it, and with the CRM, like I finally, and I know that's usually the daunting thing for almost everybody who comes to Compass, when they see their CRM and their contacts, like, it's like, oh, how am I ever going to do this? I'm never going to be able to do this. But needless to say, with my AEM and you guys, I was able to do it. So now I'm looking at my contacts from a bird's eye view. So it's a much better situation, and I can be like a sharpshooter and just strategically conduct my business. Yeah, I can do that. So that's a good thing too. So, and then I take notes on all the different pointers that resonate with what you
organization. It's so critical because, you know, it's one of those things that and it doesn't stop. That's the thing I think people need to understand. Like, you always need to be organized because you're always coming in contact with new people as well. Right. So it's so critical. So, all right. So I got to ask you, I have some questions because I was trying to think, because I've interviewed Terrence on the East Coast. Like, we're good friends. So I have a couple of questions. I have some light questions, and I have some heavy questions I want to get into. But light questions is, tell us about, what is it like growing up as a rapper in junior mafia and being around Biggie? Like, what was it like?
It's funny. It was a wild world. Like for anybody who knows the whole Biggie era, junior mafia, this is when Wu-Tang had came out. Nas had came out to a lot of people. So that era was crazy. And then we were young kids. Like, we were just there to enjoy the ride. We travel the world. Like, it was like just crazy all over the world, big sold out arenas. Yeah. So
what is it like to?
It was wild. Like, it was as wild as you'd expect it to be, like young kids. And then we were like one of the top rap groups in the 90s. Yeah. And we had Little Kim. Little Kim was a member of our group. So we were Little Kim, Biggie, and we're just going around performing, doing stuff. Yeah. So it was wild. Yeah, it was very wild. Like, I wish I was smart then, but not as smart as I am now. But if I was, like everybody says, it would have been a whole different ball game. And that was part of it. That was part of the reason why I transitioned, because everybody was stuck in that young, wild mindset. And I'm trying to be in this business, like, yo, let's do this, let's do that. And then they didn't, they didn't get it, but it's interesting.
So now, a year ago or so, you guys decided how did it come about that you guys decided to get back together and tour? I know. Not the exact tour of the 90s maybe, but you guys.
It's actually amazing. So how did it start? I know that for people who know the backdrop, I'll give a little back history. So Little Kim and Little C's from Junior Mafia, they had some like big drama and falling out. I had already left. I was out of that world, but we'd still all occasionally communicate with each other. So they had a really big Biggie dinner that was really exclusive in Soho. It was all over Page 6. Like, so that was when they came back together. So we all sat down and had dinner. And that was probably a year before the pandemic. So that might have been 19. Yeah, sometime through 19. So we were talking about, oh, let's get back together. Let's do this, let's do that. Nothing really panned out. Then we were going to do a show, and then the pandemic hit, and then they stopped all shows. Then in between that time, as the city gradually opened up, Budweiser started doing, they wanted to do a Biggie tribute show. So with us, Busta Rhymes, and for people who know rap, the Lox. So I'm sure a lot of you do, by the way. But yeah. So it was us, Busta Rhymes, and the Lox, and it was in Prospect Park in the big arena that they have in the middle of the park. So it was like almost 10,000 people, and the show, we killed it. Like, for people that know, I was on the second single. I had duets with Biggie on the first Junior Mafia album. I had a solo song called, the duet with Biggie was called Oh My Lord. I had a solo single on the album, a couple of other features, and I was on the second single with Aaliyah, who passed away in a plane crash. So I was on that single with Aaliyah. So we got to perform a lot of the songs, and then we just started touring. We did Foxwoods, we did was it North Carolina? We did North Carolina and then Texas. So there's a couple of other things coming up. So I'm trying to piece together a European tour now. We're also back in the studio. I'm in the studio working on music. Awesome. Very discreetly, but things will come out. So
I'm going to ask you at the end, I'm going to ask you to give us a little bit of a rap at the end. Oh. I know, but I have to. I'm going to have to ask. So what lessons have you learned from like the music industry that you apply in real estate?
That's a good, to speak your mind. Like, I felt like I was younger in the game, and sometimes we may have all been through this in life where you know something's not right, but you may not have said it. You kind of like I know it's not right, but I'm not gonna address it. Like straight like me, I more address things and nip it in the bud. So with that, and that helps me back and forth with business and with business, music, with everything. So once you address it, it gives people clarity on the level of your intelligence. Because if you don't express what you know and understand, there's a saying I tell people, everybody, and I don't know if I use the exact word, stupid or dumb, but a lot of people, they question your intelligence until you prove that your intelligence, like intelligent. People come in and they think, oh, this person's stupid. They don't know this. They won't know. Yeah, so you have to kind of like nip it in the bud ahead of time, and then they're like, okay, this person's on point. Like, we can't really come at him this way. And then it helps you and alleviates you from having to go through nonsense. Like I go through that, like even in deals. Like I had a deal, a developer, we went through and there was no heat. It was a closing. There was no heat in the ground floor unit because the heat wouldn't come on. I'm like, yo, so how do we handle this? Oh, either you guys have to send somebody and we'll leave something in escrow. Oh no, why? We don't, that's not how it works. What do you mean that's not how it works? Yes. Like,
funny. So that like process of always proving yourself, probably in music and in real estate, it's always going back. So and the best part about obviously our friendship and everything like that, and also like with the unfortunate stuff that happened with George Floyd, it allows us to ask tough questions, right? And questions I wouldn't have asked before George Floyd. Right, exactly. I think it's really critical to talk about this, but the question coming to my mind, like proving yourself. What is your experience as a Black realtor, right? Because let's be real, like there's not a lot of Black people. We don't have a lot of representation in our industry.
Right. I'm glad you're bringing that up, but I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. I mean, so how is your experience different from my experience, maybe from your perspective, right? I'm glad you asked that. So my experience is different.
because when I started in 2006. I happened to luck up and start my career in Soho. Like I came, and I'm gonna be candid with you guys. I was a gangster rapper leaving the industry that I felt jaded by because of bad contracts and like, so I had no idea what I was getting into. So I was like, you know what? I want to get into real estate.
Yeah.
So I could have been in any neighborhood, and I happened to luck up and start my career and build a foundation in Soho for over a decade. So what happened is back then there weren't any Black agents in like Soho and like prime areas of Manhattan. In Brooklyn. They would push us to like Bed-Stuy, which wasn't as, I don't know how much you guys know about New York because we're on the West Coast, but I'll say all of these different neighborhoods. I know you heard of some of them. Sure. So they would push us to Bed-Stuy, which wasn't in demand, and like Clinton Hill, which is booming now. A lot of actors and actresses live there now, which wasn't booming, and they'll push us there. But me, I started in Soho, and I was like, you know what? I need to learn New York City. I want to start here. So I lucked up and started there, and I started in a company called Mark David and Company, which was a rental-based company. So all we did was rent open listings. So we had to go on Craigslist, put the ads on Craigslist and get people in and make them contact us. And we would take people to places that they can find on their own. Like they could literally walk in these buildings on their own, but we get a broker fee for it. So I always remember, and I love that company because the training was great there too. They said, look, you got to remember, these people are paying you for a service. It's like a travel agent. You could go online and book your travel and go anywhere and go there, but you hired this travel agent to help streamline it for you. Yeah. So I did that for a while, and I remember it was so much different back then, where they didn't have, I didn't know Manhattan. I knew Manhattan, like I knew where the clubs were when I was a rapper and we'd go perform, like I knew how to get there. But we used to have to print it out on like MapQuest. I don't know if MapQuest is not even, yeah. We used to have to print out the address of MapQuest, and I'll walk around and I'm like looking like, okay, where's James Street, Greenwich Street? And I'm like walking, okay, turn this way. They had no, and I tell people this, there was no cameras and phones back then. So they had no computer technology in your phone. So you had to print it out and walk and figure it out. So I did that and learned the business. And I remember my first 3 months at that company, I made no money at all. And it was a rental company. Other people were making money. Let me backtrack. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I guess I was just that determined because I was like, I have to make it. Yeah. So the first day I sat down to get interviewed by one of the trainers, because you had to do your first 5 rental deals with one of the trainers. I sat down with him, Chad Thomas now. He's still in the business and he'll remember this. I sat down with Chad and I said, look, I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything, but I'm just telling you right now, by next year, I'm gonna be the top agent in this company. I just want to like let you know this. Like, mind you, I knew nothing about the business, but I don't know why those words came out of my mouth, but they came out of my mouth. So that was May 2006. I didn't make any money for the first 3 months, and it was such a brutal experience for me during those 3 months, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah. Because back then I was coming from a life where I didn't take the train in probably over a decade. So I'm on the train, like reading the maps, looking, like trying to figure out where to go on the train. So I remember the secretary saw me coming in because we used to have to take our digital camera and take pictures of the apartment rentals and put the disc in the computer and download the pictures and upload it to our page. Thank God all these different technologies exist now, but we used to have to upload the pictures to our profile in order to claim the open listing on our website. so that we could look good on our page. So it was like this race. They had it like, it was like a boiler room. I don't know how many people remember the movie Boiler Room, but it was a really established company that time for rentals, but it was like Boiler Room. They were giving us bonuses, like whoever was the top agent, you get 1,500 if you do that. And so it was like a race in there. So now I remember the first 3 months, I was racing all over the place, going anywhere. I didn't know the game. I'm trying to get listings. I'm all the way like on York Avenue and 70-some people, places where people don't even want to be. So I'm trying to get pictures and doing this. And I remember one time I came in and the secretary just looked at me and she gave me this look like, Dad, you're working hard, because it was the middle of summer. I started in May, June. So yeah, it was like June, July. I came in and this whole part of my shirt was soaked. Like I had on a button-up shirt. Like I swear to you, the whole shirt was soaked. So she looked at me and I never forget that. So I just kept grinding. And then something else I did that was instrumental during that time, I hired a coach. It was expensive. I started getting doing little rental deals, and I hired a coach. And I want to say it was really expensive. But back then it was $1,000 a month, which is expensive for 2006, 2007. But I knew what I was doing, and then I just implemented everything. And some of these things I still utilize to this day. And then by the end of 2007, I became the top agent out of 400 agents in all 3 of their offices. Yeah. So I did that, yeah. And I remember, because I have a 14-year-old, I remember I got to find a picture of me holding him in my arm, accepting the award at their big celebration, annual celebration. So that was good. And then after that, they got upset with me because I got sick of rentals. I wanted to learn sales. So I was like, look, I'm doing this left and right. If I'm not challenged, I need to grow. Like if I'm not growing, and I'm sure a lot of you feel that way, if I'm not growing, I'm not challenged. So it was easy. Like I'd come in and I'd have multiple different people putting in applications on rentals, and other agents are not doing any deals. I'm like, this is too easy. So I need to get into sales. So I went cold turkey on the rentals to learn sales. So now, well, no, let me try to remember. So yeah, so now they were upset. Like, no, because I was one of their breadwinners with rentals. Okay. And then the market crashed. Yeah, the market crashed. So the owners, they were like, see, we told you stay with rentals. You see the market crash. But me, I was still eager to learn sales, because I got in real estate to learn sales. I just happened to luck up in a rental company, and I liked the aesthetic of the company and the location. It was on Prince and Broadway, right above Dean and DeLuca, like in the heart of Soho. You're looking at the energy of Soho. So it just felt like I was in a movie in that office. So from that, I mean, I can keep going. There's more to the story.
Yeah. So get into, like, I guess the point I want to bring up to the surface is, like, you know, the experience. You obviously have the ultimate confidence, and, like, you know, nothing scares you or holds you back. But the reality in real estate, like, we are not an industry that has a lot of representation in the Black community, right? Okay. That's right. So like, I guess just what is your experience being in real estate as a Black man? How's it different? And then the follow-up question would be, like, what can we do to encourage more, you know, participation in our industry? Because it's an industry that you can be anything in this industry. Right.
I agree.
So I guess talk a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So being a Black man in the industry, it was different. I would say it was challenging, but me, I kind of put my blinders on to it, and I get into some stories regarding that too. I put my blinders on to it, and I said, you know what? I need to perfect what I'm doing. And then I don't focus on my race. I focus on my skill, and I don't. And it's sad because there's a lot of agents that society has forced them to focus on their skin, and they haven't made it past that threshold of not focusing on it, and it shows, and it shows in how they may conduct their business, or how they feel about conducting their business. But me, like you said, I just kind of shoot and go for it. I'll go to a speech that I did at Compass. They had a Black at Compass event, and I happened to go up, this is years ago, and I was telling them, one of the agents, they were like, oh, you know what, when I send my mailers to Park Avenue, I don't put my face on it because I don't want people to not contact me.
Yeah.
So I just go in when, that's what she was saying. She's like, well, I just go in. And when I spoke up, and I have respect for her, and I was like, look, just to let you know, I put my face on everything. Like, yo, I want you to see me. So, and that's why I do a lot in these luxurious neighborhoods. I want you to see me because I think about it in the reverse. I think about it like, you may look and say, wow, who is this African-American guy in my building? Like, how did he do that? Like, let me see who he is. Like, and then they look and they say, what? And then they see that I do a lot of business. Like, in some buildings, I've done 90 plus transactions in one building. So, in Greenwich Village. So I put my face because I think if you increase your skill set as an African-American agent, as any agent, it's gonna help you. So me, that's what I did. Like, I had to work harder. Like my manager, Alex Nichols, he's told me something which was one of the most, he had an epiphany. It was funny, like in the midst of George Floyd, he said, it was funny, but I knew he said it like, it was like, wow, I never thought of that. And I'll go get back to this too. He said, Terrence, I never knew how hard you had to work to become as successful as you are. And the truth is, I have to work hard and stand out, but I love it. Like, you have to love the work. So I love it, and stand out. And then another thing is, I don't blame other races for the way we feel now, or what happens with agents, because it's not necessarily, and I told this to Robert, Robert had me discuss like a lot of things with him. We had multiple calls during the whole George Floyd thing. And I said, look, I don't blame agents for the way they conduct their business. They may not have African-Americans on their team. They may not, and I don't blame them. I said, they're just following the system that they've seen for decades. Yeah. So it's just continuing on and on and on. So I don't blame people for that. I just continue to do what I got to do and bring it to people's attention. But me, in my book, I'm colorblind. Like, I feel like we're all God's children, whatever you believe in. Like, we're all God's children. My son's mother is Japanese, half Scottish, half Japanese. I'm Black. One of my ex-girlfriends was Indian. Like, I'm not this person where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like putting everybody in a box. Let's just love each other and do what we have to do. But it's hard for people when you're following what you see in society. It's like you're conditioned to follow that, other races. And then as African-Americans, you're conditioned to feel like you don't belong somewhere. Like me, I don't make reservations anywhere. I can go to Cipriani's, Tao, this, here, there. I don't even have to make a reservation. I could just walk in, and people see me in there and wonder how and why. I feel like you shouldn't feel like you don't belong somewhere because of color. Yeah. So that's just my thing. Like, with the world is for everybody. Yeah. Everybody doesn't feel that way, but that's
yeah. Well, it's good. And then once again, you're just giving your perspective from your stance. Right. You know? But it is something that's like, man, we should figure out, we should focus on how we can increase, because it's such a beautiful vehicle for wealth building, so to speak. Right. You need to go to Harvard or Princeton to make the money that you can make in real estate. Do you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And like I said, I try to speak to people about that and explain that too. And just to be honest, with the flip side, like, I'm going to be candid with everybody. Like, when I talk about this situation, and I say this openly, when there's like, okay, it's the Black agents this, or the Black thing this, I feel like that contributes to the issue. I feel like let's have open dialogue.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you've been forced to be segregated into, it's just this, the blackness or whatever. I just feel like let's all embrace everything. And I'm not saying to stop that. I'm just saying that's just my take on it, because I remember I'm part of NIRAC. NIRAC is kind of like a real estate board in New York, but it's like more for a lot of upscale agents. So they formed this board to push for different policy changes in Albany and there's an advocacy group for agents. So I remember during the pandemic, they approached me and they said, because I put out this post about how there's no diversity and this and that and leadership and this and all. And then they said, Terrence, we want you to be part of this. We're about to form a coalition of Black agents to be part of NIRAC, and we want you to be on part of this coalition. I said, I appreciate you guys reaching out to me for that, but I'm not interested in that. I said, to be straightforward, the reason why I'm not interested in that is because I feel like if you make me part of a Black coalition within this organization, it's gonna just be a pacifier statement. Kind of coined that phrase, but I said it's gonna be a pacifier statement. So what I feel is necessary, if you guys are really looking to do something and make an impact and make change, put me or somebody else of color on your board of directors to level the playing field. I said that everything else is just what's been done in the past. Yeah. So
awesome.
So they said, wow, that they took what I said, and then they had their board meeting, and needless to say, I've been on the board of directors for over 2 years and making contributions. I do a lot with the current mayor in New York. I set up things for the mayor. So they're seeing how powerful other people and connections that other people have. So it's great, but I say that to say this, there's some agents that would have been happy and said, okay, I'll start the coalition. I'll do it. Yeah, let's go. Instead of looking at the broader scale of it.
I love that term. It's like the pacifier solution or the real solution.
Yeah, the pacifier scale.
Incredible. Well, Emily, I apologize. I've been talking so much, but Emily,
me
what
too.
questions are coming in
You
your
know,
mind?
we can talk. Like we can all talk.
Emily, what are your questions coming up? Because
Sure. Terrence, I would love to know, I mean, listening to you speak and express yourself, I'm sure we all feel this way. There's something really big out there for you. You've already done big and amazing things, but in terms of the evolution of Terrence, like what are the things that you're looking forward to? What is it that you're looking to create in the future for yourself and for the world?
Well, something that I've been working on, which you guys see, because I kind of sprinkle it out there. Ever since the pandemic, and I was cooped up in my house, drinking a lot of wine, and the first couple of months. So I've always been a fan, same as Scott, with motivational videos for years. Like for years, I've loved motivational videos. I start my day with it. I feel like that's the pump up. And I just said, you know what? And I'm always talking to people and trying to motivate them. I said, you know what? I'm gonna start trying to make my own motivational videos. Great. So then I started making the motivational videos during the pandemic. And then I started noticing like, wait a minute. And I'm not saying it because it's me. I listen to some of them like it's not me, and I'm like, yo, I'm pumped up. And I'm like, yo, these are good. And like I said, I swear to God, I'm not saying it because it's me, but I'm like, yo, I think I have a talent at this. Let me keep doing it. So I'll do another one, and then I'm like, wow, this one is good too. Like, oh, yo, wow, this one is good. So it's funny. It's funny. So I do it, and then this girl I know, she heard it. She's like, "How do you write those? How do you come up with the idea?" And I told her, I think it ties into my music industry background, I said, I don't write those. I don't write them. So what I do is I listen to music. I'll listen to music and I'll go through some. I don't like the way that sounds. I'll probably listen to like 20 different instrumentals, maybe 15 to 20. And then some days nothing comes to me. And then I'll hear one and I'll be like, whoa, oh, I like this. Oh, this sounds like this. Back of the back. Then I'll just record myself and just let it flow. Let it flow, and then just take it from there. So that's actually how I come up with them, and it doesn't even take that long. And I just listen and I just start talking the music, and that's why if you see the music usually fits in well with what I'm saying. And then during the pandemic, I hired two editing guys that are great. So they've been on my payroll since the pandemic. And the funny thing is they're literally on my payroll. So if I don't give them stuff to do, they're still getting paid. So it's like an extra motivation for me. So, and they call me boss jokingly. I'm like, don't call me boss, don't call me. Yeah, boss. Hey, boss, we need some vocals. So I'll be busy with clients and doing stuff for days. And they're like, can you please send us vocals? And I'm like, and I tell them, they sometimes they're like, sorry, we keep asking you for vocals. I'm like, nah, I need that. Thank you. So they're pushing me too. Because every time I got to pay them every week, I'm like, so.
Awesome.
So I love that. So motivating people, I love doing that. I see that direction, and I'm really creating great music. Like once again, I'm a really great critic of myself. I know if I do something that sucks. I've been in the music business for a while. There's people that would do things. Same thing with the videos. You got to know if this sucks. Don't just, because some people, when it's your thing, you're like, oh my God, it's so great. And you just see that everything flying around, rockets and fireworks, and nobody else is seeing that but you. So I kind of know what, I'm kind of in tune.
I'll use a video. I'll use one of your videos on the question of the day tomorrow, and I'll post the links as well to YouTube and also just your Instagram page.
Yeah, exactly.
Somewhere on Instagram.
You know, I thought it would be a really cool call to action for all of us to maybe even once we see Terrence's YouTube or his Instagram to maybe share that out to somebody else that we think would enjoy it.
Yeah, people are sharing it with their families. And once again, thank you all, because I know there may be somebody on this call, but those comments, like it's great. Like it inspires me. Like I don't do it for any, I just do it as a passion project. Like I don't get paid for it. I just do it. And like I said, I feel good because I feel like I'm employing people to help me do it. And I'm also helping people because they're sending it. So I think that whole vibe, and I think all of us have that in us because we're all real estate agents and we're helping people. So I kind of figured that out during this whole process. Like, yeah, we love helping people.
Yeah. So we got a course starting up soon, but are you willing to give us a little freestyle, or is it, like, you don't need to, because I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I would just love for everyone to hear your talent. So, but it's up to you.
Oh man!
You notice how I'm not really giving you an option, but I'm giving you. Yeah.
Wait, I'm not gonna say yes, but let me think if one of the songs I'm working on would work on this platform. Hold on, let me think.
And we won't judge you on, we know it's a Zoom call, not a studio, not a.
Let me give me a second.
Take your time. Take your time.
Give me 1 second. No. I'll give me 1 second. Let me grab
take
it.
your time. Good. This is gonna be good. We've never had
right here.
Never had a rapper on, or never had a rap on 6 a.m. So, because I didn't make you do it on the East Coast, and I regretted it. So,
wow. I mean, this kind of, you know what? Let me get the music for it too.
Nice. Oh man, this is special.
You put me to work. Hold on.
This is gonna be awesome. So, and I'll post guys his video tomorrow. I'll go through and choose one from YouTube. He's got more on Instagram than he does on YouTube, but I'm trying to get him to post them on YouTube so I can use them. So, all right, this is gonna be good.
Scott, you're funny. Oh,
I should have warned you. So I didn't want to warn you. I didn't want to I wanted it to be natural, so I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this.
All right, guys. I'll give you like a couple of lines.
Just, yeah, you don't need to, yeah, just a little bit. Just a sample.
I'm like, yo, y'all want the blueprint to win? Well, let me begin. When opportunity knocks, open the door, let them in. Make them a plate, treat them like your favorite house guest. I can't believe you put me on the spot.
You knew I had to, so I just want to tell you, man, you're so talented, and your drive, your enthusiasm, like it's impossible to be in a room or a call without smiling when you're around. So
I can't believe you made me do that, but that's great.
So, well, I want to go to. We definitely should have you at one of our concerts, and or we want to go.
I'm working on some good stuff. No, yeah. Like I said, I'm promise you guys, I'm not just saying this because it's me, but it's some really good. I got a really good concept, and everything's coming together correctly.
Great. Well, I appreciate the time you spent, and
I appreciate you, Emily.
Friendship, man. So,
love you guys. Love you all, man. Thank you for this energy. Great way to start the day. Such a great way. Thanks for having me on.
Terrence, we love you too.
Love you.
Possible not to love him, right? Like
I know.
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sky.
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you for a great start